Hey guys, so I'm back with another Alchemy Stars video, and we have the last information that we needed for the collab. So they did put out Joker and Queen's skill kits, so we're going to go over these. Honestly, I'm a little disappointed because they're not all that much different from the other 5 stars that I'd gone over. So we'll go over Joker first. Joker's obviously a 6-star character, a fire attribute sniper, and his attack is actually quite high for a sniper at 3,600. And his active skill actually has a very low cooldown at 1 and is a preemptive strike. So for the preemptive strike, Joker enters the battle with his special, selects one enemy to deal 200% damage to, and double its exploit weakness. And I do just want to interject here briefly. This is not cut off because my window's cut off. The image itself that they put on their Twitter page is cut off. So the text is cut off in the picture. There's nothing I could do about that. So just throwing that out there. So the text is cut off. There could be more to this skill that's not being shown here. So just keep that in mind. So for special skill, it's basically the same as all the other characters. Deals damage to all enemies according to the number of Persona 5 characters in your party. And then that line says, deals more damage to enemies with weak status and dispels all weak status. When all enemies have weak status, a special skill displayed is triggered. All of those say the same thing, the special skill and exploit weakness. All say the same thing for the characters, so it doesn't matter if I'm looking at Joker's or someone else's. And then exploit weakness, obviously enter weak status after gaining 100 stacks of exploit weakness. So nothing too crazy here. He does have a short cooldown, and he does have the ability to double the amount of exploit weakness on an enemy. So if you already have 50 stacks, you can make them enter weak status with just one hit by using this. So that's actually a pretty good skill. And he's definitely the type of character you want to use in combination with at least one other Persona 5 character. So for the chain combo, it goes from 150% damage to 160% damage. And the 4-chain combo deals damage to 3 of the nearest enemies within 4 surrounding clusters and inflicts 3 stacks of exploit weakness to each enemy hit. So the 9-chain combo is going to hit the 4 nearest enemies within the 4 surrounding clusters and inflicts 5 stacks of exploit weakness to each enemy hit. The 13-chain is going to hit all enemies within the 4 surrounding clusters and inflicts 7 stacks of exploit weakness to each enemy hit. So his is just doing a flat amount of exploit weakness to enemies of any element. He doesn't have any other ability to put more stacks on an enemy because they're a forest unit, for example. Since he's a fire character, he's not putting on any more exploit weakness like the other characters have in their skill kits, where they actually put more exploit weakness for the enemies that are weak to their element. He's just putting a flat amount. His equipment skill is similar to the other characters, but he does have some other things in his equipment skill kit. Upon each enemy defeat, exploit weakness stacks are distributed among the remaining enemies, granting up to 40 stacks to each enemy. So this is actually pretty good because the exploit weakness stacks are going to be redistributed to the enemies if you kill them. So it's actually really good because then you don't necessarily have to worry about if they enter weak status with 100 stacks. Exploit weakness will be redistributed, and it'll probably be easier to get the rest of the enemies in a weakened state using this skill because it's redistributing the stacks. Joker inflicts 1 stack of exploit weakness with each normal attack. When Joker first changes from team member to captain during battle, Joker gains 20% increased normal attack damage in this round. When Joker changes roles between team member and captain, captain changes +1, triggered once per round. So this is actually pretty good. So he has a swapping skill as well. So when Joker changes from a team member to captain, basically it's not going to waste the captain changes. It's going to add +1 to the captain changes. So you don't lose any captain swaps when you do this with Joker. Obviously you can only trigger this once per turn. So once you do that, he will be captain. So if you do another swap, obviously that is going to cost you one of the captain changes, but this allows you to save your captain changes, which is really good because it means that Joker has synergy with the other Persona 5 characters because they also have these type of captain change skills in their kit, but they don't give you +1 to the captain change. The other characters will make you lose the captain changes. They'll be spent. Joker helps you preserve that by swapping, but it also means that because those other characters have captain swap, you can swap with that character for that character to get increased damage as well. For example, if you change to Violet, she'll get increased damage from swapping to captain, which would put Joker back on your team. It would give Violet her attack increase. for that round. Then in the next turn, you could do the captain swap with Joker again, and you'll get +1, and you'd be able to swap again with Violet in the following turn if you wanted to, for her to have the increased attack. The good part is that Joker allows you to preserve your captain changes, and actually allows those other characters that have a captain change skill in their equipment skill kit to actually be able to use those captain change skills more than they would. So he's actually quite beneficial. The redistributing of the exploit weakness makes him really good because he's redistributing all of the stacks that were on the enemies that were defeated to the rest of the enemies that are on the field. So you could probably make them proc weakness quite easily with Joker. This banner is looking more and more like the banner you may want to summon on just because there's good synergy between these two characters, Joker and Violet, since they're both the same element, and their skill kits will work good in tandem with one another. Of course, the last one that we need to go over is Queen's skill kit. So Queen is a 6-star Thunder attribute detonator, and her active skill has a 3-turn cooldown and is a preemptive strike. So for the active skill, Queen enters the battle with her special skill, deals 320% damage to all enemies, and inflicts 6 stacks of exploit weakness. Water enemies receive 12 stacks instead. So Queen will be adding more stacks when she's attacking a water unit, obviously since she's a thunder unit. So she does have this in her skill kit, meaning that she'll be able to stack more when you're using her against water units. The special skill is deals damage to all enemies according to the number of Persona 5 characters on your team, deals more damage to enemies with weak status, and dispels all weak status. When all enemies have weak status, a special skill display is triggered, so that's the special animation from the original Persona 5 games. Enter weak status after gaining 100 stacks of exploit weakness. So similar to the 5-star characters, she's just applying more stacks since she's a 6-star instead. Her chain combo goes from 160% to 175% damage. Her chain combo does hit all enemies within one surrounding cluster. And for the 2-chain combo, inflicts 2 stacks of exploit weakness to each enemy hit. Water enemies receive 4 stacks instead. For the 8-chain combo, it says damage to 16 grids in a radial shape and inflicts 3 stacks of exploit weakness to each enemy hit. Water enemies receive 6 stacks instead. This is basically the same as saying what it says for the 12-chain, where it says 2 surrounding clusters. They just wrote it as 16 grids instead of 2 surrounding clusters. That ends up being the same thing. They really should have kept consistency in how they worded it, though, between all of these. So for the 8-chain, it inflicts 3 stacks of exploit weakness. Water enemies receive 6 stacks instead. So the 12-chain combo deals 175% damage to all enemies within 2 surrounding clusters and inflicts 4 stacks of exploit weakness to each enemy hit. Water enemies receive 8 stacks instead. So again, she's putting more stacks on enemies that are weak to her element. And for the equipment skill, normal attacks become 2 combo attacks that deal 60% of basic damage per hit. Each normal attack inflicts 1 stack of exploit weakness. Water enemies receive 2 stacks instead. When Queen first changes from team member to captain during battle, Queen gains 15% increased normal attack damage in this round. So normal attacks become 2 combo attacks, so she'll be hitting twice, but you'll be getting extra damage out of her from normal attacks from the equipment skill. Of course, they're allowing her to also put stacks on with her normal attack for exploit weakness, with water receiving more stacks. She also has a swapping skill where she gains increased normal attack for that round if you swapped her from a team member to captain. So there's nothing too crazy in her skill kit, really. She will be doing more damage. She's obviously very good when you use her against water units. All of these characters apply the exploit weakness stacks, so they're all going to be able to work together in one way or another. Whether you put them on a team with the same element or you put them on a team with multiple elements. Like putting Queen with Joker, for example, and then using an all-fire team or an all-thunder team, using Joker and then all thunder units. You can mix and match these characters. They all have the exploit weakness stacks, so you'll be able to stack those exploit weakness stacks with the characters and get increased damage by using multiple Persona 5 characters on your team with their special skill. It'll be interesting to see how much damage they're actually dealing, how useful this system is. I feel like this particular banner has a lot of value because they're both the same element, so you can use them together on the same team, on a fire team with a healer and 2 converters or 3 converters, so that you're able to get off combos. And of course, apply more stacks, since as you do the higher chain combos, you are stacking more of these exploit weakness on the enemies. If we're looking at this exploit weakness system, Joker definitely seems to be the best, since he is able to redistribute the stacks when an enemy is defeated. That's going to be very useful regardless of what other Persona 5 character you're using, which allows you to use multiple of the collab units pretty easily while maintaining a high stack count of these exploit weakness to make them enter weak status quicker. I think Joker helps a lot of these other characters work really well. So this particular banner actually has quite a bit of value. The other banner, of course, has Queen on it, and she's not a bad unit at all. The skill kits for these characters are so similar. The free characters will probably be enough for the event. I think this particular banner will have the most value for people to summon on. I think out of all of them, Joker definitely seems to be the best one in terms of being able to work alongside these other Persona 5 characters and then benefiting from the increased damage from the special attack. He also grants you the ability to get into the weak status much easier than the other characters and continuously make enemies get into the weak status, especially since he has such a short cooldown for his active skill. And he'll just keep redistributing the stacks amongst the enemies. So if I had to say, I really do think that this particular banner with Joker on it is definitely the one that people should probably aim for. Obviously, if you want Queen, there's absolutely nothing wrong with Queen. She's good as well. You should always summon for who you want to use. You know, it's a game. It's about having fun. We're going to have to see how much damage these characters do on their own. And of course, when you put another one of these Persona 5 or multiple Persona 5 characters together. So yeah, I look forward to seeing what this event brings. And that's going to be it for this one, guys. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you soon. Bye.